I started my first business in college completely by accident. I'm going to tell you how I got clients, how the business even got off the ground, what kind of marketing I did, how I strategized the numbers, and made sure that I was profitable and made some money. But I did all this while being a full-time electrical engineering student with a part-time job in retail. I'm going to also tell you all the lessons that I've learned and how I got me from there to here, being your luxury life and business coach.
Have you ever been presented with an opportunity and you look back in your life and realize you completely missed it? That's what happened. So, let's start with this first business in our new series called Business That Built. And this is a business that I had no idea was a business. To give you perspective, about 30 years ago, when I was in high school, I essentially used to do hair. I started doing my hair and I loved doing it. I used to play around with different styles and techniques. And my friends just started asking me to do their hair. So organically, I started doing almost everybody's hair at my high school. I didn't charge anything. I literally loved doing it. And I didn't feel like I was licensed, so I didn't feel like I had a right to charge anything. Well, anyway, by the time I got to high school, that pattern just continued. I did my own hair, and then my friends that I had made in high school, or in college rather, all asked me to do their hair, and I started doing their hair again. Well, a couple of years into being in college, a young lady almost never spoke to me. I thought she was amazing though. Just randomly came up to me, and I knew she was from New York, and asked me if I did one of my friend's hair. She said, "Did you do so-and-so's hair?" I said, "Yes." And then she said, "Did you do this girl's hair too?" And I was like, "Oh, yes." And then she said, "So how much do you charge to do a do?" And now this would be the first time that anybody ever asked me, how much do I charge? And I had never thought about charging. It was just something I enjoyed doing. So in that few minutes, I immediately thought about how much would it cost for me to do her hair? Well, I wasn't going to count my labor. I had also understood that if she was asking for a doobie, that there are Dominican places in New York that I used to even go to that charge $15 a head. So I definitely couldn't charge more than that because I wasn't even licensed and I didn't have a hair salon. But then if I was going to do her hair and anybody else's hair, all I needed was a bottle of shampoo, conditioner, setting lotion. That would have to be recycled, and pins, bobby pins. Everything else I already had that I would keep, like the hair dryer, rollers, and blow dryer. I needed to blow dry their hair. So I figure I probably spend about $10 to $15 on the disposable products, the shampoo, conditioner, and the pins. And I may be able to do 5 to 6 girls' hair with just those products alone. So if I divided 6 into, let's just say 12 to keep the numbers round, that would be $2. That would cost me $2 a head to do somebody's hair. And I did this math, literally, I think it took me 5 to 10 seconds to do this in my head because I knew she was waiting for me to answer her. And so I immediately spit out $10. And she was like, "Great, when can you do my hair?" So that was the first paying client that I had really ever had outside of Girl Scouts and stuff like that. The funny thing is that before I went to college, I had made up my mind that I wanted to open a hair salon. And I just assumed I didn't know anybody that was wealthy from being a hair salon owner or a business owner in general. And so I just assumed that I'm not going to make a lot of money doing that. That'll be the fun thing that I like to do. And so I decided to go to school for electrical engineering. The regret. At any rate, as time went on, I got more clients and it became a regular thing. As a matter of fact, I started getting clients from people off campus, and I had no idea how they heard about me, how they knew who I was. I did absolutely no marketing. Well, my marketing was the product. So a lot of times when we're overthinking things, sometimes the more you do a thing, it gets visible to others. That's kind of sometimes a great starting point for marketing. All right. Let's get into the lessons that I learned, because when the summer hit, I didn't maintain that business. I didn't follow up with clients. I didn't try to market to more people. I didn't try to grow or continue what I was doing. I actually ended it. Had a great summer, went back to school, finished out my last semester, and then I went on to do other things in life. It took me almost 10 years to realize that was a legit business and that the universe actually was listening to me. But I said I wanted to own a hair salon, and they were like, okay, sure, here you go. There was no strong effort, it was effortless. So the first lesson that I learned was to pay attention to what I asked for. I think it's really important that you understand that when you put things out to the world and you go with the flow of the universe, which is a whole nother conversation, that you are going to find yourself receiving the things that you've asked for, the person that you need to talk to, the letter that you need to receive, the phone call, the money, whatever it is, it's going to start showing up for you. It can't be forced. It has to just be organic and effortless. The second lesson I learned was your hobby, or that thing you really just love doing, or you do it organically, or you're just really good at it, it may not even be fun. It just may be something that is a gift that you didn't even realize was a gift, that you assume it's easy for everybody. 9 times out of 10 it's not. That thing could make you money. That could be your first business. The third lesson that's a little more scary because of society, the world, and the older you get and become an adult, don't talk yourself out of things. You know, I convinced myself being a hairstylist wasn't going to work. I wasn't going to make the amount of money I wanted to make. I wasn't going to get the clientele I needed to get. It was just going to be something fun to do. I took myself out of my own blessing. Don't do that. The fourth lesson was to know your market. And here's the trick about that doesn't need to be feel like pressure. The more you do something, especially for free, the more you practice it, the more you are good at it, you're going to know the market organically, because you're already using the products, you're already using the services, you're already doing the thing. You know how much it costs to mow the lawn because you purchase the equipment to do it for your own house or your neighbor's house or your neighbor's house. You already know how much it costs to buy the product. So know your market, and that is when the opportunity presents itself that you will already be ready. As a side note, pay attention to what you ask for, good or bad. You're likely going to get it. And you may not always like the way that looks, but just be prepared for it when it comes for you. The most important thing that I wish I would have known or had the opportunity to have at that young of an age is a real life role model, a real life person to look up to, somebody who has the lifestyle that I would have wanted. That's what you should be looking for. Or a mentor, even if you have to pay for it. You should have somebody that is helping you navigate the goal that you have, that helps you understand when you have doubt, when you're not going in the right direction, to help you be redirected. The person that has exactly what you want, can tell you the bumps and bruises that they went through. That's what you should be looking for. And that will change the trajectory of your entire life. And I know paying for a mentor or coach or something like that is expensive, and it feels like, let me make money first. But sometimes it's like you're investing in yourself. You know what I mean? Like buying you and creating an opportunity for you to be the millionaire or billionaire that you wanted to, because you've already been engaging with somebody who can show you how to do that. So that's the first business in this series, and I hope you got something valuable from this story, from the experience, from my lesson. I still look back on that and wish I would have done things a lot differently. I don't regret a lot. I think everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to. But I definitely would have been in a very different place right now, I believe, if I had believed enough in myself, and if I had had someone to show me the steps that I needed. And also, if I'm being fair, we didn't have the internet the way we do now. So it would have been a lot of rocky road mistakes I probably would have had to make. But I do wish I would have tried it. That's one of those things in my life that I think I learned the most from, is to take the risk, not to have the regret. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Remember, this is Leo, your luxury life and business coach. And please DM or go in the comments if you have any questions at all. And let me know if you like this story series. I'm hoping that you'll get something from every video. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.